So let me see today a topic, requirement engineering process. So it is like the phases what we have for the software engineering. This also having some sort of phases to complete a RE. RE stands for requirements engineering. So this RE process will explain clearly what and how we are going to do this requirement engineering documentation. So the topics which you are showing here, the next two topics, is the part of that engineering process. Okay. Now we are following for this chapter engineering requirement engineering is Somerville. Some of the topics we are taking care from this textbook as well, which is the second textbook as per the syllabus. Somerville. The name of the textbook is Software Engineering, the 9th edition. Coming to the REP, that is requirement engineering process, it mainly focus on the four phases. The first phase it deals with the business requirement, which is also called as feasibility study. When you are preparing the project work, maybe as a mini project or final year project, you have to mention clearly the feasibility study, which talks about the schedule, cost, how much the budget will be there, plan of work, how you are going to doing. All such type of things you need to cover in business requirement, which is also called as feasibility study. Next deals with the discovery. Discovery talks about the elicitation and analysis. The second phase of this REP is elicitation and analysis. So what you're doing here, under this what we are doing here is, we are just making the requirements, the process, how we need to be collect and what we need to be collect, and whether system as well as user requirements, both has to be give the user requirement elicitation as well as the system requirement elicitation. The third phase talks about the specification. Like already in the last class, we have seen the requirement specification consisting how we are writing the requirements with the help of which language and how each language description, like natural language, or we can use the formal language, or we can use the notations, all such type of things we can use in that way, right? So in that same process, what the converting means, we are going to converting this requirements into some standard forms. Converting these requirements into standard forms, the meaning of this is, if you see the meaning of this will talks about, the meaning of this is whatever in the second phase, that is elicitation and analysis, you are collected there, converting these requirements into some standard form. Standard form means, like as we discussed in the previous classes, that how an SRD or SRS will look like, the template, how the sections will be there, converting into the standard form. And finally, we had to validate in the last phase such a way that whether whatever you are giving the SRS is satisfying the needs of customer or not. That you do in the last phase, that is validation. So simply, it is having the four different phases. The phases including inside is as a graphical representation. Let me talk about this. So if you see the inside part here, is combining as the four different phases. The first is requirement elicitation. The second is the requirement specification. Here's the second one. The third one, the requirement validation. And the output of this REP, that is requirement engineering process, is system requirement document. That is, we are going to give the total documentation, not only for a specific, because SRS means the software requirement specification is a part of that, is a part of in SRD, that is system requirement documentation. So total entire documentation you are giving. If you see, the process will starts from here. The process, it starts from here in the iterative manner. It starts the iteration. Initially, it collects the business requirement. So once it is collect the business specifications, business requirement specification, once it has done, it goes to next phase. In this is feasibility study. Once the business requirement specification has clearly mentioned that for which type of applications we are developing, who is the end users, for which market we are releasing the product, immediately we have to take care of the schedule, budget, rest of these things as in the part of feasibility study. Once it is done, it goes to the next in the process of this iteration, the user requirement elicitation. So user requirement elicitation already we had discussed in the last classes that it deals with the only the abstract way and who are involving here, what are the roles are available, and how you are going to doing that type of things will comes under the user requirement elicitation. Once it is done, it goes to the specification immediately, because user requirement elicitation is required as well as specification. Elicitation will tell you only the basic requirement, only the basic input as a initial requirement, initial ways, or we can say abstract details only will talk over there. The specification deals with the in detail, what are the roles and what is the task of each role, including the different stakeholders involving into that. The user requirement specification, once it is done, we are drawn a prototype which look like as a similar to the actual product. For getting some view and some assumptions, we are drawing some prototypes over here. Once the prototype done it, so this first level of this will be talks about the business and feasibility. The second iteration of here, second iteration in the sense, second of circle, it indicates about the user requirement illustration, user requirement specification, and the sort of prototype. Once it is done, the third circle, in the third loop of this, it deals with whatever it is, it talks about the users. Now it is talks about system. So here user requirement illustration. Now here is a system requirement illustration. Here is the user requirement specification. Here is a system requirement specification and modeling. So in this user, it is talks about the prototype, and in this line of loop, it is talks about modeling. A little bit of architecture details will talks about in the modeling, but here it is only some use cases, some scenarios, some data flows, or some flow diagrams. That is enough for in this phase. And the last, it is going to talks about the review. So once it is done the review, it releases the SRD, that is system requirement document, right? So that's why if you see the clearly, the figure indicates, if you see the figure clearly, that the parts which belongs to here, the parts which belongs to here, if you see here, the user elicitation, this system requirement elicitation comes under the first phase, that is called as requirement elicitation. If you see here, business requirement specification, user requirement specification, system requirement specification deals with the second one, that is requirement specification. So business, user, system, all requirement specifications will comes under the second phase. The third, where we are doing whether it is feasible, prototyping and reviewing of this entire process, will deals in the third phase, that is requirement validation. And then finally, it gives a SRT, that is the document which talks about, which deals with all the detail. So it look like is a spiral model. Already we have discussed the spiral model. This spiral view of the requirement, it like it is a iteration where we are dividing all phases, all framework activities, different framework activities over there. The same framework activities, it is going to be deals with the same here in the requirement as well. That's why it is called as a spiral view of the requirement, right? So if we talk about in detail of this one, coming to the feasibility study, having the each details of this, feasibility study is a focused on mainly in the process of RE process, that is requirement engineering process. So it mainly answer with three different questions. The questions are whatever you are giving, whatever the details you are giving in the feasibility, whether all the objectives which is defined by the customer is satisfying or not, and how good will be completed the project or implement the project in the schedule as well as budget with the current technologies. And once you develop that one, whether it is easily integrated with the other systems or not. These three questions has to be answered in the feasibility study. If any one of the question is say no, means it is not to go ahead beyond this one. So as an example given by Somerville, here I am giving the link for you for a better understanding of talking about the feasibility. You please just open that and we'll walk through a little bit of more information. This is enough for examination, but still if you require more information, which is given in by Somarvalli, you please go to this below link. So these three answers, these three questions answers has to be given. If any one of the questions say no, then it is not recommended to go ahead further. And as I said you, the second part after the feasibility, if you remember in this phases, once the feasibility has to done of answering the three questions, once it is giving the answer to three questions feasibility, it deals with again go for the requirements, discovery of the requirements. Now this requirements has converted into a standard form. Now how the standard form will look like is already we have seen the different templates, but as a abstract level, we can see it requires some functions, the description, what's the input you are giving, how and where you are collecting that different inputs, the sources, output look likes, the destination, the actions, precondition, post condition, side effects. All these are the some of the sections available in this standard template of system requirement. And previously, whatever we have seen for software requirement specification or software requirement document, now it deals with the system. It deals with the system, how good the functionality, what is the description of each component of the system, and what is the input we had to need to queue for the system, for which source it has to get it. Input it is okay, but which source? Whether the input has given from the source of the ATM or from the source of the OTP, from the source of the any mobile scan. Where is the source? How the output will be observed? And where is the destination? Where it has to be updated this? And what type of actions this system can be performed? What is the precondition to run that? Means prerequisites. And what's the post requisites for this? And what are the side effects are is chances to get it once the system is coming into working model. So this standard form consisting of all these sections. If we talk about little bit of the another phase, that is the interface specification. Interface specification, it deals here when you are dealing with the working with the new system must match the existing system, because if you not match it, definitely the interface is not provide the capability and precisely specified this. So to provide that new system with the existing one for changing of any because of technology change, because of any changes, if we change, definitely we require some sort of interface. Best example is if you purchase a laptop of having a 40,000 or 50,000, if it is not supports Mac OS, only it supports Windows and it is supporting the Linux operating system. If your laptop is not supports Mac OS, means some sort of interface is required. Or else when you want to install virtual things, like you already have Windows operating system to run of Linux, virtually you can install the Linux operating system with the help of a interface called as virtual PC or VMware or VirtualBox. These are some of the interfaces softwares where we can connect for your Windows and look like as a Linux. So here three types of interfaces are available. The first one is the procedural, and second is the data structure, and third one is the representation. Procedural talks about the calling the existing programs by new programs. Mean you procedure in the sense it is you return the code in the conventional or traditional. When you deals with the object oriented things, when you call the same function, same module, or same routine over there, definitely we require some procedural interfaces, so that existing code is written in C language. In the new system, it is written in the object-oriented language. Then definitely we require some interfaces which trigger that C language functions trigger with the help of this new functions or new technology. The second is data structures, because they provide the data passing from one system to subsystem, one subsystem to another. Means the data, whatever you are going to using, the data structure over there. Because if you see the data structures normally, we can have different types of structures. In the existing, if you are going to using one template, for example, if you take the student data structure, it's maybe a name, student, roll number, age, marks like this. When you consider this as a in another programming language, say for example, if you're writing in the Python, if you use the one of the data structure like list or dictionary, now the way of your using that list and list dictionary is very different compared with the structure concept in C. It's very simple in the Python. It's a little bit of very like we had to use the struct keyword, calling with the name of the structure, followed by the members in the sense the type over there. But in the Python, it is not that much of complicated. It's easily we can do it. That type of data structure to convert easily from one format of data into another is required some interfaces. Representation of data, ordering of bits, like ordering of bits to the existing should be required, and most in the real-time system and embedded system, this representation of data is need to be specified clearly, because storing of the data in one type of programming language is different of storing of another. It will vary the when they develop the microcontrols, or when they develop the chips over there to storing that, it will be vary from one to another. Okay, so these are the three main things which discuss in detail about that. That is a feasibility study, the standard form, and the interface specifications, what we required for this. And in detail of each phase, that is requirement elicitation, the specification, validation. So that topics will be discussed here in this one. Okay, so in the next topics we'll discuss the requirement elicitation analysis, requirement validation, and requirement management. So that's for now.